Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Hello, everybody. So, we're doing something for the first time during tonight's stream. But, just like any other time, uh, we do something for the very first time on stream, as I did make a mistake, and the mistake that I made was um, I didn't set up my music, so I'm just going to be doing that right here. Get the music on, and then we can go ahead. We can run our 2 minute ad to start. All right, let's see. Typically listen to Polly B from the 303's music on these streams. That's very loud. I'll just lower it a little bit. All right, so tonight we're going to be doing tarot. And so this is my first opportunity to do tarot, is that I'm still something of a beginner when it comes to it. So you might see me, probably hear me get a little quiet every once in a while. It's more than likely because I'm looking up the specific meaning of the cards. It's not innate to me quite yet. But, so I just have my guidebook by my side, and that's really something that is going to be, I'm going to be working with tonight, as well as, well, just, seeing, how well, this is going to turn in. Oh, so also, is that we're going to be starting a queue in chat, and so anybody who gets in on the queue will be able to get a free reading. But if you're interested in getting ahead of the free queue, I would suggest that you give a tip. Is that go to kofi.com/BrainyTheRPGCat, and then you can join our special paid queue. I'll be writing your name in my vision book as a thank you, and then I'm going to be creating a thank you list for the end of the stream for everybody to see who has done a contribution by the end of the month. It's just like a little thing, like giving the credits at the end of a show. But it's all thanking you for supporting me. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to run that 2 minute ad, and then I'll be right back with tarot right here on Brainy the RPG Cat. Stick around, everybody.
This fearless caddis is the raddest, has skills of the baddest, magic,
Swinging bodyguard.
no status, practically unmatched, runs all of the gamut, in fact,
He's a reference
games
guy.
and chatting, bent wizardly hatting, questing, stacking, napping, this,
Can't diversify.
witty banter, seeking kitty answers, roll 20 to scamper, tune in,
And enjoy the ride.
Brady, the RPG cat. Brady, the RPG cat.
Hello, cats and kittens, felines and felidae, humans and variant humans, and every race, class, and subclass. Welcome to another episode of Braining the RPG Cat. Oops, wrong screen. Hang on just a second. Okay, I made the special screen. You probably saw my cheat sheet a moment ago. That's probably where I'm going to be pulling some of the meanings from the tarot cards. But, anyways, thank you everybody once again for tuning in. This is our very first tarot stream. This is going to be just something that I'm, trying to make a difference, to add some more interactive things to the show. And, I just want to let you know, as it says in this disclaimer below, this is for entertainment purposes. It shouldn't be considered any form of professional, spiritual, mental, or financial advice. So, you gotta ask, in this kind of situation, is, while I am just kind of discounting the, how should I put it, the efficacy of tarot card reading, why would there be a reason to do it? And, well, as all of you guys know, this is a channel that I created in hopes that, I would be able to support the autism community. And my discovery of tarot has something pretty significant to do when it comes to autism. Is that when I struggled all the way through grade school and high school and a good chunk of college with neurodivergent issues. And it was only probably partway through I was working on getting my master's degree that I came up with the concept of vision journaling. So, vision journaling is this this process where you write down things that you're thinking about so that you give yourself a little bit of food for thought, and then afterwards you can use that as a gentle means of guiding your way through the week using the motivations that you pick up from various sources. And it could really be from any kind of source. Some people use the horoscope. Some people have a tendency in order to look at guidances when it comes to the Eastern calendar, the Eastern I guess what do you call that? The Lunar New Year calendar. Also, there is a little bit of reading when it comes to moon phases, and I do have some of those, and I'm going to show them to you. And so basically what tarot helps me to do is that if I do a tarot reading a day, what I'm capable of doing is I can just deal out a concept, an intent, and an outcome that I can use in order to guide everything that I do during the day. And so, since I feel like I have some direction, my sense of autistic task paralysis has a tendency in order to vanish after that. I'll spend an enormous amount of day procrastinating and telling myself things like, well, I'm going to, telling me things like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what's going to matter, I don't know where I'm going to end up at the end of the day. And if I deal the tarot cards, what will happen as a result of that is I will have a basic idea about what my intent should be, how I should go through the day. And since I have that idea, I don't have to just sit there and ruminate about it. And so this is the way the tarot has helped me as a neurodivergent person. And this is part of what I want to impart upon those of you who are watching tonight's stream, is that tarot, I think that it was put in a very nice way to me, very interesting way to me very recently. They say that effectively tarot is not about knowing the future, it's just about knowing the things that you might have to consider. Is that in these situations, when you really feel fraught with an idea in which you're not sure how you're supposed to move ahead, you can deal tarot in order to come up with the basic idea about how you should structure things, and then you can use that for guidance. And between this and the horoscope, I have a tendency to prefer this, because what I'm doing is I'm creating just a little bit of a personal fortune for myself. It's not just a matter of taking the horoscope out of the newspaper and just providing information to a great group of people and then having all those people ruminate on that information and decide what it applies to them. No, this is your own personal handmade fortune that you are curating and taking care of here. So I feel like it does have a little bit more strength when it comes to being able to motivate you in order to do something daily, because it means that you have something that you can very personally use, that you can bring out for yourself every single time. It's like Richard Simmons' Deal-A-Meal, except with your future. And that's a really corny thing to say, but yeah, it's basically what was going on. Also, I'm really dating myself by bringing up Richard Simmons. Hi, I'm an 80s kid. Yes, I know I am. Alright, folks. Well, I want to introduce you, well, to a couple of things. Is that, as you probably have guessed, is I don't have the ability to manipulate things in the real world, so every time I am in one of these situations, I get a little bit of help from my Mage Hand cantrip. Let me go ahead and summon that for you. La, 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 la. There it is. There's my Mage Hand cantrip. Say hi to the nice people. What is the sound of one hand waving? That was basically it. You just heard it. I'm sorry if you missed it, but you could probably get it in the replay. The other thing I want to introduce you to is Mage Hand. If you can just bring that over here. Okay, so this is my journal. This is my just kind of all-purpose. How did I put this? Dream and commitment journal. Is that this is where I write down anything during the day that I feel is going to be helpful for me. I think I call it my vision journal before, and the vision journal, that's probably the best way in order to put these things, is that you're basically writing down things that you feel like might be personally motivational and helpful throughout your day, and we can use that information to help us to have a better attitude throughout the day, work towards things that you believe that you need helping, and if you just kind of need to make a task list, just go ahead and write the task list in the vision journal. So now, I do also want to make it clear that this is not the vision journal that is for my personal use. this is a vision journal that I created specifically for when I'm going to be on stream, just to give you a basic idea about how to go through this scrapbooking process in order to help you with dealing with complex emotions and thoughts in your head noodle. Alright, so I wrote down a little bit of what I did want to discuss, and so this is what I'm going to be calling a daily report. This is basically just a little bit of information that I had written down so that I can just basically illustrate the kind of things that you put in your vision journal so that you will be able to chart and come up with concepts that you will be able to do as you work throughout the day. And so this is what I had written so far, is that according to the website moongiant.com, today's current moon phase this is March 28th, 2026, is a waxing gibbous moon, and the moon sign is currently in Leo. So whenever a moon sign is in a specific sign, whenever the moon is in a specific sign, let me put it that way. Whenever the moon is in a specific sign, it basically means that according to how you behave according to your horoscope is particularly heightened during this moon phase. And so I may work it out so that I can report the daily moon phase every single time that I come onto stream, even if I am doing a gaming stream or any other type of stream. But okay, so for Leo, for those of you who might be watching this, and you might be a Leo, a moon sign under the sign of Leo means this is a period of emotional wealth, creativity, dramatic expression, and a deep need for recognition and appreciation. So this might actually be a time that, if you're really interested in getting personally involved with a creative project, when the moon phase is in Leo would be the time for people who have the Leo side in order to do that. I had another thought here, but is that the moon signs change every 2 or 3 days. And so you probably need just the assistance of a website. As I had said, I had used the website moongiant.com in order to come up with the reading according to this moon. So this is currently, for this evening, we have a waxing gibbous moon under the sign of Leo. And that's going to change in a couple of days, and the next time I do a stream, it's more than likely I'm going to report that too. So that's just kind of a note to myself in the future. And I'll go ahead and I'll just make that note right here. Is that, remember to talk about moon phases every stream now. Every stream from now on. Hello, Uncle Jimmy's Basement. How are you doing today? Thank you very much for tuning into the stream. I was just going over a little bit about vision journaling, and if you would like to stick around shortly after that, I would be more than happy in order to read your 3-card tarot. Also, it would be helpful if you were to... I'm going to start the queue just after I'm finished talking about my book, and then we can go ahead and we can get started with that. And thank you very much for tuning in. Alright, so... according to my horoscope today, under Taurus, it's kind of interesting because I'm a talking cat. I am... Chester Cat Moon Phase was the other day. It was cool. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I wasn't doing a show during that. I might have acknowledged it in my vision journal, but I didn't do a show about that. So I'm a Taurus. Is that, my standard horoscope sign is the bull, and my Lunar New Year sign is the dog. So I am literally a bulldog, and yet I have a cat persona. So go figure that one out. All right, so Taurus, a project you are working on requires perhaps more creative skill than you usually need. It may be necessary in order to learn new skills along the lines of CG or just slightly more complex basic skills in order to accomplish it. But you're apt to enjoy working this way, and you may hope to continue. And I got that from horoscope.com. That one's a little close to home because, as we all know, I do a lot of art, and I do a lot of digital art, and I also do a lot of art that dabbles in things like animation and everything like that. I'm being told that that is going to become more challenging, but then that's going to be worth it. All right, so since Uncle Jimmy's Basement is waiting, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do our first free reading. I'm going to do a 3-card tarot reading, and then I'm going to put it in my vision journal, but I will do that after this. So, Uncle Jimmy, I hope you're still in chat. Just let me know a little bit about how you've been doing lately. And also, it would be very helpful is that if you were to come up with a particular question that you would like to ask the cards, then we can go ahead and we can deal based on that. So you've been doing okay. So everything is going okay in your life, is that when it comes to love, family, all of the important things, life, tarot particularly pertains to issues when it comes to life, money, and personal motivation. So these are some things that are continuing. Love is a mixed bag. You're single. Well, I quite honestly, I'm single too. Not much in the romance pool for talking cat wizards, I'm afraid. Okay, so, well, just once again, I do want to reiterate, if you do have a specific question that you would like to ask the cards, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to deal based on your fortune and probably most immediate future. So, lots of people come up with, lots of different slots when it comes to how they read the tarot. In this one, as I'm working with this 3-point section of interest, intent, and outcome, is that the very first card that we are going to pull, we are going to look at your interest. That there is something that is currently on your mind that may be, how should I put this? Is that it's very obvious and prevalent to your fortune, and therefore your fortune will come out in the very first card. The second card we're going to pull is going to be based on intent. And so that intent means that in the event that you choose to do something a certain way, then that is going to lead to the concept of your outcome. The third card and final card that I draw is going to be something that is more than likely going to happen once you're absolutely complete with dealing with your interests and dealing with your intent. So this is a 3-step process. All right, so let me go ahead and let me shuffle the tarot. I have a standard Rider tarot deck, and it is very nice because it's printed on very shiny foil. And so, with the lights slightly above me, it should be pretty radiant looking. Also, just so you know, I am going to be pulling cards in reverse. There's a great deal of people, particularly on Twitch, they have a tendency not to want to pull cards in reverse, but I have a tendency to. People have a tendency to believe that cards pulled in reverse are bad luck. I think instead of looking at it that way, is that you just have to understand, that there are always obstacles in our way. And doing cards in reverse, that would also help us to fully understand what we might be up against in any given situation. Hello, Michael0721. Thank you very much for tuning in. How are you doing tonight? Ah, a dog. Well, a dog emoji anyway. Alright, so I'll go ahead and fan out the cards here for you. Okay, so I am just going to pull 3 cards completely and totally at random from any section of the fold. Okay, that's our... Okay, that's our first card. Okay, this is our second. And this feels like our third. All right. So, let's go ahead and let's turn over these 3 cards and see how the next few days, immediate days, are going to unfold based on your considerations. Okay, so once again, okay, our interest card. We'll go ahead and we'll flip this over. It looks like we have the 2 of Cups and it's upright. Okay, so so let me see. Upright, the 2 of Cups is representative of partnership, harmony, mutual attraction, and balance. So, oh, hello, Lasso Cassidy. You say I got a lurk, so I can't get my tarot read, but I hope the readings go well. Yes, thank you very much. We'll give you a shout out at the end of this reading. All right, folks. So, let me see. I was talking about the 3 of Cups. Oh no, hang on. I'm suddenly beginning to find an issue with my foil tarot cards. Is that, yeah, it makes it a little bit hard to read sometimes. Okay, we were actually talking about the 3 of Cups. Okay, this is the first major blooper that we're having. Yeah, I did say 2 of Cups, but it is the 3. And you can also clearly see that on the card because it does have 3 cups on it. First blooper of the evening is that, I am a streamer after all, and there's going to be a supercut of brainy tarot reading fails sometime in my immediate future. All right, so the 3 of Cups is representative of celebration, friendship, community, and creativity. This basically means that you feel as though that you have been in an association with an individual and it has been going incredibly well. Is that it has been harmonious, and you have a tendency, in order to celebrate this partnership that you have with this other individual. And in a more general sense, the 3 is always considered to be a very lucky number, and the cups are always representative about your relationships with other people. So we're going into this with the interest that this pertains to somebody that you have been dealing with in a personal way that you feel has been going particularly well lately. It's up to you if you do actually want to let me know what that is, but if you do just want me to leave that hanging, then I'll just go ahead and I'll turn over the next card. Okay, so the second card is the King of Wands, and it is reversed. So, let's see here. I think it might be a close friend. Okay. Well, let's see what might happen with this close friend. There's a slight lag on my end. Well, it's to be expected because it's Twitch. Alright. So, I promise, I will go ahead and I will work this all the way through with you before I go on to the next person. As long as I don't make an exact same mistake that I made with the Cups card. Alright, so the King of Wands in reverse. So the King of Wands, it typically represents leadership, vision, entrepreneurship, passion, and confidence. In reverse, though, it means a lack of vision, a leadership, an overbearingness, an arrogance, or an impulsiveness. And this is something that actually might apply to either you, or it might be something that applies to your close friend. Is just some kind of situation between you and this other individual. There just kind of appears to be something in the way of a misunderstanding. Is that which usually guides you in a very straightforward and, in fact, very mutually beneficial manner, as represented by the cups, is a little bit awry right now. And so you must have something in the way that you might either be annoyed by your friend in some way, or your friend might in some way be annoyed by you. And so this is a situation that, since this is the middle card, this is something that you're more than likely going to be dealing with as in the past, in the upcoming 2 or 3 days, in the very immediate future. That something you're going to have to come up with is some kind of form of reconciliation between you and your friend. And then I'll go ahead and turn over the last card without further ado. Okay, this is the Eight of Wands, and it is in the standard position. Let me see. The Eight of Wands is representative of movement, action, rapid change, travel, and communication. Is, as you can see in the picture, is that these wands are something that are moving in the open air, that are a lot like arrows. So, I have a feeling that, you know, whatever conflict that you might be having that is represented by the reverse king is actually something that is going to be resolved very quickly. Is that we are going to be able to deal with this with a lot of forward momentum. It's going to work itself out, and then you more than likely can return to the harmony that is going to be represented here by the cups. Is that I understand that, you know, you probably have a close enough relationship with this friend of yours that is so very well put in understanding that even if there is a misunderstanding that is represented here, it is going to be resolved with the speed of the arrows, or really the speed of the Eight of Wands. So this is just really something that the most important part of this fortune is probably trying to suss out what actually might be a little bit askew, as represented by the King of Wands in the center. Is that, but I'm pretty sure that you two will be able to work it out, and then you will be able to move forward with a great deal of progression. And that is the entirety of the reading. Do you have any questions? Just anything else that you might want to know? And in addition to that, is that we also do have the option of drawing just one more card from the tarot to see if we can use the cards in order to elaborate on what has been shown before us. So that's what I'm just waiting for. If I'm waiting for if you just might perchance have one more question for the cards, and if there's a way that we can talk about it or draw another card. Are you still with us, Uncle Jimmy's Basement? So it will be something that will get resolved. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that, you know, whatever it is, it probably just could be something like a small misunderstanding or a potential disagreement. But you're already in such a very strong and celebratory place with this individual that it is able to go by in a very quick path. That is basically what this fortune is saying. Okay, well, that was our first fortune, and that, you know, since we went ahead and we went right to the races on this, I forgot to start the queue, so... Alright, so let's go ahead and let's... I actually printed out something that I wanted to tack to my wall board, but now that paper is long gone. Okay, minor technical difficulties. I gotta figure out how the stream elements queue works really quick. So that way, Joe. All right. Yeah. So yeah, open, and then it's free. Queue. Oh no, it was queue open. That's what it was. You know, part of my character has always been just kind of that absent-mindedness that you most definitely saw if you ever watched Disney's Sword in the Stone. All right. There we go. Okay, so anybody who wants to join and get a reading, please type Q join, and we'll go across the free queue so that we can do some more readings. Cartoon talking cats are known to be zany. I know that. I know that's for certain. Suffering Thuckatash. Tonight's tarot readings could stand to be a little bit more efficient. Alright, so anybody else who is interested in the chat right now, feel free to join the queue, or, you know, since things are a little bit casual right now, yeah, just feel free to speak up in chat, and then we can get you a tarot card reading. Okay, Mike L0721. Okay. So, in order to check this off, then I have to go to okay, yeah, Q exclamation point Q pick. Q pick. Not well. That should have worked. Maybe it was also next. Or Q next, possibly. I had a lock on this. I had it written down on a piece of paper. Well, anyways. Hello, Mike Yellow721. Thank you very much for tuning into the stream. Is that I'm very happy that you and Uncle Jimmy's Basement have officially become the first two people to receive a tarot card reading from yours personally. Alright, so I'm going to ask you what I asked Uncle Jimmy's Basement before. If you do have a specific question that you would like to ask the tarot, feel free to go ahead and type it in chat. Otherwise, then we're just going to do something that is going to tell your general fortune. We'll go for something more general. Okay. So, once again is, yeah, to just make a measurement of this according to my book was that we are doing this 3-card draw based on 3 criteria. The first one is going to be interest, then intent, and then outcome. There is something that is at the forefront of your fortune that we are going to use the cards to determine. Then we are going to figure out what the steps will be in order for you to deal with the outcome that has been praised by the first card, and then finally the third card will tell you what the result of all of that is. All right, so once again, give this a good shuffle. All right. So I'll fan the cards out here as I did before. Okay. And then I am just going to go ahead and I am going to use my will and predictiveness in order to determine what the 3 cards are. There used to be a guy on 90s television that they used to call the Amazing Prechkin. And he was this amazing magician that had the ability to find a personal item after somebody had hid it in the entirety of the television studio. And he was just one of the most amazing magicians that for a very long time. But I don't know specifically what happened to him. I think somebody actually figured out how he did the magic trick. I would like the cards to be straight as soon as I extract them. I would like them to be. Alright. Okay, so first card is going to be your interest. Let's see where your mind is currently right now. Okay. Wow, this is amazing. Okay, this is our second reading. We have pulled the 3 of Cups again. I certainly hope all 3 cards didn't stick together. If we did, then I'm going to call this a wash, and then we're going to do it again. So, as we previously stated, cups are symbolic of a very strong relationship between you and other individuals, and the number 3 is considered to be a very lucky number. So what this effectively means is that there is a strong sense of celebration, friendship, community, or personal creativity within your sphere of influence. Is that when it comes to the very first card in any 3-card tarot draw, it's kind of hard to be able to understand the meaning of it unless, you know, there's something that you can bring out immediately or express. But it's also that the simple fact that, you know, I don't want people to give away too much about themselves when they're doing tarot on an online stream. So basically, if you do have an idea about, you know, what particular kind of friendship or personal etching or creative endeavor that you are capable of sharing with another person, that is what is represented by your intent. Alright, so the second card, this is going to talk about... you think you have something in mind that this would be about. That's very good. And so that's up to you if you want to talk to it in chat, but I do also just respect everyone's privacy. Alright, so... then we have the Queen of Cups, and then the Queen of Cups is in reverse. So, the Queen of Cups in its standard is representative of emotional stability, empathy, intuition, and nurturing. But in its reverse, it is exactly the opposite. It's instability, mood swings, or hypersensitivity. So once again, if this is about a friend or if this is about a creative project, this card deals with the fact that there may be some kind of, I guess you would say, emotional disability, stress, and particularly stress when it comes to other people who might be involved. Is that in any queen draw situation, queen often represents either a maternal or a secondary relationship between 2 individuals. So if this is about another person, it would definitely be about that other person. That there is something that actually might be a little bit concerning, stressful, or just nerve-wracking about a situation with someone or something that is in the Three of Cups position. So this is where I say is that every time you look at the center card, you have to look at things particularly in terms of what is actionable, what are things that you could potentially do. And in this situation, it is we are going to be looking at whether or not something that you have in an intimate relationship with another person is actually something that is very nerve-wracking and stressful for that individual. All right. Then finally, we have the King of Wands, and then we have that in reverse. So let's see what we have here. Is that the King card is usually the leader card. It definitely means it has something to do with the person who seems to be in charge, the person who is the central figure in any of these particular interactions that you've had with the person that you're thinking of right now. All right, so let me see. Did we have any other wands here? We didn't have any other wands here, but we did have... Yeah, we had two other cup signs here. Okay, so the King of Wands in its typical situation involves leadership, vision, entrepreneurship, passion, and confidence. But, of course, since it is reverse, we're talking about the possibility that there is a lack of vision, a lack of leadership, a sense of overbearingness, arrogance, and impulsiveness. So, it's kind of hard for me to say that, even though that, usually the king, any king sign means that, you're talking about yourself in the first person. There's also just a very big strength that whoever might be envisioning themselves as a leader in this situation is beginning to create a situation that is frustrating and aggravating. But since we've already pulled the Queen in reverse, it actually might be an issue with that individual. I mean, you have to make a determination whether or not the Queen is representative of you and this other person. And this could get a little bit confusing. But then you also have to figure out whether or not the cacophony of emotions that are coming out as a result of this is actually as a result of you or another person. You say you think you can see what this is saying. Yeah, there is a very good chance that, once again, is that this is representative of somebody that you're particularly close to, or something that you're particularly very fond of and very attached to. So just like with the previous reading, this is a situation where you know that you can go back to your foundation and you can speak with this individual about this in a way where it can be resolved rather amicably. But as it stands, however, it is something that you actually might have to put into words and speak with when it comes to this individual, because a lot of this situation just kind of sounds like a lot of frustration, a lot of aggravation, a lot of situations where people feel that they might be left out or upset by something, and that is just currently being left on the shelf. So there is definitely something you can do here. It involves communication, it involves understanding and compromise, just like any good relationship. And so that is basically what I would consider the reading to be. Do you have any other questions? And also, if you feel like you need some more guidance, we can still pull one other card from the deck, and we'll be able to see if that will give us another answer. Let's do one more card just to see. All right. Okay, so shuffling the deck once again. All right. And so I'm going to pull a card straight from the deck, unlike the fan that I had done before. And it is this one. Okay. All right. Great Wheel, show us if there is anything in addition we have to consider when it comes to Mike L0721's relationship with this other person. All right. So we are seeing, this is our first major arcana pull tonight. This is the Strength card. And it is also in reverse. So Strength typically refers to resilience, determination, perseverance, courage, the strength, but in its reverse, it means that there is something in the way of giving up, having a lack of resilience, being overwhelmed, or having a lack of courage. And as I had said with the two cards in the middle, this deals with whichever individual feels like they are most in charge. But it is definitely an intent that lives within them. So what this would basically tell me is that there is something in the way of an insecurity, that there's something in the way of something that somebody feels like it makes them feel the opposite of strong. It makes them feel helpless, overwhelmed. It makes them want to shrink away. Therefore, is that I would say is when it comes to resolving the situation, when it comes to the middle, it just kind of has to come to a situation where you might have to reassure another person that things are okay, things are something that are capable of being talked about. And in that kind of situation is that you'll be able to resolve this, but we're continuing to see a pattern here, and that pattern is feeling that somebody is overwhelmed in this situation, and also to the extent that they are feeling helpless about themselves. You know, and once again, is that it's up to you whether you would decide that this has to do with you or if this has to do with the other person. But it most definitely is something that needs to be resolved, because all of these are coming out in a pattern. Is that I have every faith in you. I absolutely believe that you can do this, because once again, this is one of the strongest cards when it comes to both relationships and intent that you can possibly pull from the deck. So you do have a very strong dialogue with this individual already. And so I would basically just kind of work towards that. Have that opportunity. All right, we are getting a first-time chat from a raider. We by the Tarot Rita Raid. Say, this is a clip of them. So thank you very much for raiding to our stream. Is that we just finished up doing our very first 2 ever tarot card readings for people, but we're also going to be going right into an ad. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be back just after this quick 2-minute words from Twitch. We'll be back. Is that if you guys are interested in joining the queue, type !Q join, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go down the queue, and then we will do some of your readings. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will be back after this quick 2-minute break. This is Brainy the RPG Cat. Stick around, everybody. Okay, we're back. Thank you everybody for staying tuned into the stream. I do apologize for how abrupt that was, but you know, nobody gets to choose where their Twitch ads land, so thank you everybody for staying tuned in. Alright, so feel free to type exclamation point Q to join the free queue. And thank you once again very, 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 very much for Weaver and the Phantom for being kind enough in order to raid into us. As I had previously said, this is our absolute very first tarot reading. I am still relatively new to it and I am learning, but you know, I'm really, really happy to get this support from the people who are already doing tarot on Twitch. Alright. Let me see, Delulu Stacy, did you actually manage to get into the queue? Alright. So, yeah, so the next person that we are going to read for tonight is Delulu Stacy. I know that you're still in chat, because you just posted a moment ago. Alright. So, as I had said at the very intro of the show, is that my name is Brainy the RPG Cat. I am a neurodivergent cat nerd who is really into tabletop RPGs. And I practice tarot in a way in order to help organize my life, is that I put an enormous amount of tarot reading information that I do for myself into a little vision journal just like this one. I consider tarot to be just an incredible way in order for somebody who has neurodivergencies in order to find a sense of organization and possible direction in what they may be doing. It gives you the opportunity in order to deal an outcome for the day so that you can actually get things done and understand what the outcome of the day was. And that's probably what I most enjoy about doing this. Alright, so Delulu Stacy, do you have a particular question that you would like to ask the cards, or if not, then we'll just go ahead and we'll do a straightforward reading. And also, it is worth mentioning is that I am working on with these three criterias: interest, intent, and outcome. I had that written down in that nice book there that keeps creating white balance issues every time I slide it into frame. You keep getting texts from your ex, and I told him to chill. Okay, yeah, so this is an issue where, you know, an individual is really beginning to, yeah, just chafe with a very specific thing that they're doing. So you want to see that what you should do in that situation. Well, okay, so it is a good thing that you tuned into tonight's stream, because I am working with precisely the criteria that tells you what you need to do in order to solve problems. Alright, so okay, finish shuffling the deck. I'm going to fan it out in front of me, and then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to pick 3 cards. And each of these cards will basically tell you what the steps you should be doing in order to resolve this issue. Okay, so I am feeling... Okay, this one is first. Second. Also, follow-up question for Busy. Is a shrimp on the way? If there's anything... it seems as though Busy is a little bit tired. And the reason that Busy is tired is because everybody keeps asking her about shrimp. Alright. Alright, so... Okay, so our very first card is that we are dealing with interest here. Interest is the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is representative of confidence, creativity, leadership, passion, and warmth. So wand signs are typically just deal with a person's ability in order to maneuver over situations. I tend to think about it as the same way as having a magic wand, is that is effectively just kind of having the ability in order to manipulate particular situations. And queen cards are always representative of either a feminine strength or a secondary strength that is possessed by an individual in this situation. So I think what this is mostly saying is that you have a belief that you are very in control of this situation, that you're going into this situation with a belief that you have the strength in order to properly maneuver this situation. That is what the Queen of Wands is telling me. It means is that there is definitely a wand here that allows you to deal with this. I'm not necessarily going to say with authority, but when it comes to creativity and your strength and understanding of these situations. All right, so so then we're going to pull our second card. This one is the straight card, and then unlike the previous reading, this time it did come right side up. So then right there is obviously, you know, strength here in this situation is telling us something very similar to the Queens of Wands, is that you have when I previously said that you were negotiating this situation without a sense of authority, just a sense of creativity, strength then comes in and then tells you, oh, well, yeah, I am absolutely doing this with strength, and I am absolutely doing this with authority. So this sounds like, you know, particularly you are dealing with this situation with a good amount of assertiveness and a good amount of creativity. And, you're in the chat saying, yeah, slay, absolutely. And I'm really happy that you would say that, because, you know, it really does. This really speaks to your internal fortitude, is that you feel like not only do you have a path in order to resolve this issue, but it also means that you have a tool set when it comes to dealing with this sorts of issue. You're creative when it comes to dealing with this sorts of issue. All right, thank you very much for rating once again, Weaver and the Phantom. Have a good evening. Get lots of rest. Is that I know the rigors of what it's like in order to be a streamer, and I'm just a cartoon character. All right, see you guys. Have a lovely stream, RPG Cat. Yes, have a good evening. Okay, so our third and final card is the Fool. The Fool is right side up. And so the Fool is a card that is infamous for being representative of change. Well, let me double verify when it comes to that. Oh, thank you everybody for following. I believe that was Crazy Sherbet and Weaver. Well, Crazy Sherbet and Shark Gamer. Thank you very much for following. So, if you guys are interested, feel free to go ahead and type !Q join to be in the queue in order to receive a tarot reading. Okay, so the Fool is representative of new beginnings, spontaneity, freedom, and optimism. So, effectively, what this is telling me is that at the end of this conflict that you're going to have with this individual, something is going to change. And there's a very good chance that, you know, it might be something that is not necessarily straightforward, but it's something that's just completely out of left field. So you can expect, you know, just really change, like things in the way of changes of demeanor when it comes to this person. There's a very strong sense that, you know, there is really something that is going to come off of this and then is going to be pretty significantly different from the way that you negotiated with this person. Now, let me make this perfectly clear. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to cut this person out and you have to leave this person out of your life. That is always entirely your choice, the decision that you make. But when it comes to how your interactions with this person are going to be in the future, what you can expect is that you can expect this individual to behave in a different way. Is that to possibly look at you in a different way. But you also do have just an enormous amount of support. You have both the Queen and you have the Strength card. They're guarding your back. Is that you have a enormous amount of both resourcefulness and strength, and whatever situation, however the situation is going to be resolved, it is going to be resolved on your turn. You know, even just the fact that when you say something is going to be resolved on your terms, you know, that the person that you resolved it with that way is never going to be the same. That's something that can be considered a gimme in lots of situations. But, you know, as I believe, is that you'll be able to resolve this pretty cleanly, and then but immediately afterwards you should expect a difference. That's my reading. Is if you have any other questions, and if you're at all interested, I could also draw you one additional card. Okay, that is good. All right. So I'm going to pull up the queue list again. I should be checking people off, but then I just have to figure out how to do this Fakakta thing. I don't know. It works better for me like this. It works better for my neurodivergence so that I can actually plainly see the people that I've already read. Okay, so Busy Piffed Up. Do we have a Busy Piffed Up in here? Can you get a general reading? Yeah, alright. We can definitely do that for you. Okay, shuffling the cards. Great pronunciation, by the way. Do people usually pronounce that wrong? Do people usually say puffed up? Okay. Say shuffle the deck. I'm fanning it out, and then I'm going to do your 3-card draw. They usually say Piffy Ed up. Oh, Busy Piff it up. I see it. I see it. Okay. I feel this. Your first. Your second. And your third. All right. Okay, so this is your general reading. Okay, our very first card, we have pulled the Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands, the page cards typically talk about an individual who is in a supportive or a caretaking position. And wands, as we have usually deal with what you call creativity, versatility, agility in a particular type of situation. So the first thing that the cards is acknowledging from you is that you are currently in a situation that you feel like you are handling with a good amount of efficacy, a significant amount of how do I say this? Patterned and well thought out caretaking. And so that is the page side of it. Is the wand side of it involves using concepts of exploration, creativity, enthusiasm, ambition, and inspiration. So is that what it's showing you? Is it's showing you versatility, but it's also showing you versatility and routine. And that kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but it basically means that you have a very standard and specific way of working a particular task. And so you're bringing up work dynamics. So you feel like this might actually have something to do with the routine way in which you handle a particular task. And so, while we keep that in mind, we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn over the other card. Okay, we have the Five of Pentacles, and it is reversed. So, the Five of Pentacles is usually a bad sign, particularly when it comes to monetary means, when it comes to any kind of money, when it comes to any kind of financial transaction. But the good news is that we actually pulled this in reverse, so it actually means the opposite. The Five of Pentacles in reverse means that there is a sense of recovery, hope, reaching out for help, acceptance, and relief. So, what the narrative is so far here is that you have the Page of Wands, is that there is something that you're handling in a very routine way, in a very strong way when it comes to your sense of maintenance. And what it is affecting is that it is affecting your money, but it is affecting your money in an extremely positive way. Is that when this card is right side up, is that you can clearly see from the image of the people who are walking in a snowbank away from a stained glass window, that this could mean destitution. But since this card is reversed, it actually means that it is a good balance, is that there is a possibility in order to gain from this abundance. But there's also a warning here, and that warning is there is a tendency in this situation where you might have to rely on the kindness of another person. Is that, without going too much into, what your personal story might potentially be, is that this means that things can become financially sound, but it also might become financially sound because there's an individual that you might reach out for when it comes to help in a particular financial situation. So those are the things that you have to consider. All right, then this is going to be the outcome card. We have the Seven of Wands, and the Seven of Wands is reversed. So this is a little bit more ambiguous. So once again, is that when we deal with the Wand sign, is that we're dealing with the ability to handle things with versatility. Any Seven sign is a sign that is usually representative of hard work, tending the garden. As you can see, we have an image here of an individual who is planting wands in the same way that he would be planting like stalks of corn. So it's the Seven of Wands in reverse. This means there's a possibility that there is an event which somebody may give up, surrender, feel overwhelmed, feel defeated, or be unable to show courage in a particular situation. So I try to look at this when it comes to the other two cards, because this card is saying that you do have a lot of good resourcefulness when it comes to handling these situations, and then you also have a strong ability in order to corner your finances, but there is something in the way of disharmony when it comes to these first two concepts. Something may be happening, something may be changing in a way that threatens to that threatens the process that you have going on in these first two cards. But you probably... What I'm seeing is that I'm not seeing a negative outcome, because the outcome is really just something that still continues to ask the question. Ask the question whether or not you are... you have the ability in order to control this situation, because this situation is reading to me as a situation when that is actually something that is incredibly strong. So basically what I say is that, yeah, you should feel cautious, because there's a very strong possibility that sometime in the future you might feel a sense of giving up, a sense of not quite following in the path that is already established by these first two cards. So, in a way, the cards are telling you what you are doing is actually something that is a working process, and it is going to be up to you not to cast any aspersions on that. Make sure that things are still kind of working in a very straightforward way, so you don't have to fall prey to what the Seven of Wands is saying. You've been feeling like that all my life, but I have to move forward. Yeah, I mean, nothing that is typically said by the cards does not come with out a certain amount of reflexivity. And so, personally, I believe that the Wands are actually some of my favorite signs, because it really does speak to that particular kind of versatility that's possessed by a person. It gives a person a lot of faith that they can solve things by doing things. Yeah. So, let's see. Busy Piffed Up is that is my reading. If you are interested, I can draw another card to see if there's something else that the card can tell us. But or we can go ahead, we can leave it like that. Is that if there's an extra card that I could draw in order to help you? Or, yeah, we can leave the fortune as such. The most important thing I feel when it comes to that list is that you should stay the course. Is that just try not to create a situation where something stable that you're doing is causing too much doubt. That would be my advice. All right, so let me check the queue then. All right. Whoops. Wrong command. I've got to figure this out one of these days. All right. Okay, there you go, Pickle. Now you're in the queue. All right. Shark Gamer. Do we have Shark Gamer here? Tell me we have a Shark Gamer in here. So I do believe that they're still in the chat list, but I do actually need them to be in chat. What do we have? Someone send out a search party. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. Shark is a very strong animal sign, at least in my opinion. Is a shark. Ruh. Dominant figure of the sea. Alright, well, while we're waiting for them to potentially come back from AFK, let's go ahead and let's do your reading, Pickle. Okay, so do you have a particular question for the cards? Otherwise, we'll just do a straightforward reading. You've been trying to figure out what career path to go on. All right. Is always a worthy endeavor. You know, personally, is that I have been in tons of situations where I've had to look for new work. And it's also something that is quite often said about neurodivergent people is just a difficulty to be able to manage a personal work situation. You know, it can be very tiresome. You know, we're waiting for the world to catch up to what the neurodivergence expectations are, because as it is, things are very chaotic out there. You know, particularly comes when to work, particularly when it comes to dealing with your boss. Expectations very high. All right, so reshuffle. Full-time, part-time, side jobs, done them all. Yeah, that makes two of us. Okay. This wants to be the first card. Second. Okay. Third. All right. Okay, so making a decision about what your particular career path. Okay, our very first card is the Six of Cups, and it's in reverse. So, Six of Cards, so any Cups card has to do with relationships. Let's see. As I could stand to understand how Six tends to affect these things a little bit more, but that is neither here nor there. Okay, so the Six of Clubs is responsible for nostalgia, childhood, innocence, and generosity. But the reverse is stagnation, emotional baggage, and the inability to move on. And so this is something that I have very personally felt multiple times when it comes to dealing with the job market, is that there is just this very strong sense of having a little bit of grief, having the intrinsic sense that things are not working out, is a very strong belief that you might not be able to handle this situation under very specific situations. And, well, given that this is the opposite of how your childhood feelings have a tendency to enter into relationships with others, and then it is in the reverse position, this is more than likely means that you have been hurt in some way in the past, and that is causing something to get in the way of how you intend to move forward when it comes to choosing a career path. You know, but like as previously stated, this is the interest. This is something that is probably most at the forefront of your mind when it comes to this particular search, is that now we have an opportunity that we have acknowledged this, that we can go ahead and we can move on to see what can potentially be done about it. Okay, I have pulled the Ace of Pentacles, and that one is in reverse. So the Ace of Pentacles typically means, and so once again, all Pentacle signs typically tend to be fortune signs. New beginnings, material, prosperity, abundance, manifestation, opportunities. But unfortunately, in its reverse, it means there's a loss of opportunity, a lack of planning, a financial loss, and a significant amount of missed chances. And so it's very important to emphasize that, you know, in this kind of situation, fortune is rarely ever that which is on the bearer. Is that this is necessarily not a result of something that you're doing. This has to do with the possibility that, you know, opportunities that might have been there for you in the past are not there now. And that's an easy one to say because then we get into issues when it comes to the economy, when it comes to job availability, when it comes to whether or not a person's individual skills are something that is considered bankable in the job market. And so, well, it's very just easy to paint a negative picture about the way that the job market is right now, because I've been there myself. Is that I'm basically going through this cycle, as I'm sure many people have been going. Well, so we are going to look for the last card, and we're going to look to see if there's a potential turnaround to all of this. And so we've drawn the Page of Wands, and that is right side up. So, okay. So the Page of Wands, as we have previously said, any page card is a expression of exploration. Well, is a caretaker card. Is that you're talking about somebody who acts as a servant in the hierarchy of actionability that people can have. The page card talks about exploration, creativity, enthusiasm, ambition, and inspiration. Is that all wand cards have to do with creativity and versatility of an individual's activity. So it's very good to see it in this situation, because what it is basically telling you is that the outcome of whatever might happen in this very bleak looking job situation, as represented by this first two cards, is something that you could be able to, that you're capable of resolving by being more creative, by thinking outside of the box, by maneuvering things in a way where you're actually using the best of your talents and the best of your aspects in order to mitigate what is happening in the what is happening with your interest and with your intent. So this basically says to me is that what you need to do is that you have to have a tremendous amount of faith in your abilities. You have to have a tremendous amount of faith in your strengths. You're being effectively warned that, there's going to be very little that is going to come towards you, but that's okay because you have the ability and you have the versatility in order to move past those things, and we will be able to come up with a situation with the solution to anything that is in the very sparse configuration that is represented by these two cards. And so that is my fortune, Pickle. Is there anything else you would like to ask? We can draw another card if you want a little bit more information. Pickle, are you still here? You guess you should go back to school. Well, it is definitely a step that you can do. I have been in and out of school for, different vocational purposes, myself. But more than just, possibly going back and getting more education, I believe that what the cards are telling you is that you have to have a certain amount of faith in the versatility that you have right now. Okay, let's draw an additional card. Is there any resolution as a result to Pickle wanting to go back to school? Okay, I am sensing this card. All right. Okay. What does the addition of education add to what is directly in front of us? Okay, we have the Five of Wands. So, we had previously said that the 5 cards represent a significant amount of hard work and perseverance. And wands, of course, always have to do with creativity, and they also have to do with resiliency. You don't know why, but you feel like you're gambling. Well, I don't know what to say than that, but so is life. Life can sometimes just kind of feel like you are drawing cards at random, quite like I'm doing right now. But okay, so the Five of Wands is a good sign. Is that it is effectively just saying in this situation that you're going to be facing an enormous amount of competition, challenge, conflict, growth, and legacy. Is that what you can see? Is that a significant amount of people? You can see by the picture is that there's going to be a significant amount of people, and they're going to be bringing their wands into this situation too. And it looks a little bit erratic and it looks a little bit jumbled up. But effectively, were you to add more education to the situation that we're evaluating here, you do have to be prepared for the challenge. But the good news is that since you are still dealing with a wand sign, that still means that what the page is holding up is still holding true. Is that if you continue to depend on your strength and you continue to depend on your creativity and your versatility in a situation, then you're going to be able to find your way out of this. But, it is also just in that de facto way saying that, school is just something that is going to put a few more potential obstacles in your way. And you just have to be able to be willing to consider that and be willing to consider what your steps are before and when you are engaging in a further education. All right. So feel good about yourself. You are an intelligent and versatile individual, and you have the ability in order to stealthily maneuver through the conflicts that I believe a good amount of people are already facing it. Well, it sounds like it's fine, but it will just make things harder, that's kind of a tendency. Yeah, that's just, if it stands to reason that if you were to go to school, then immediately you put the specific obstacles in a way. You're going to be studying again. You're going to be, going through a myriad of all sorts of other types of challenges. That's basically what the cards are telling me, But, feel good at me, because I do believe that you have the ability to pull through. You just have to use your noodle. You have to be smart enough. And thank you, Eldritch Grandpa, for tuning in and raiding with a party of 12. I'm so glad I'd be able to see you. Is that, Eldritch Grandpa has been a friend of mine in the VTuber sphere for a good amount of time. And they've also been just very kind enough in order to show up to today's stream, this is my first attempt at doing tarot card readings. So thank you, everybody who has come over from Eldritch Grandpa's channel. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, Pickle. It says, take it and thrive. Let it become the best part of you. So, anybody who's come over to from Eldritch Grandpa's channel, go ahead and type !Q join to join the free queue. We're going to be doing a few more readings throughout the evening. Is that, anybody who would be interested in hearing their 3-card tarot fortune, don't hesitate to ask. Let me take a look at the queue really quick here. We were still looking for Shark Gamer. I still see that you're in chat. Please tell me if you are... Uh-oh. They're telling me that one other person is in the chat. I need to learn how to delete from this queue. Oh, sorry, you're doing something. Okay. No problem at all. You're here now. Okay, so what can I do you for, Shark Gamer? Do you have a specific question you want to ask the cards, or would you like to just get a general fortune? Yeah, you have a question. Okay. Say, just whatever you would like to ask. Give a good shuffle right now. And also see if I can figure out how the stream elements queue. Was the end of this relationship for the better of my health? Did it help me learn? Okay, I'm feeling just a little bit ambiguous about the way that is written. So, you recently ended a relationship. So, you ended a relationship and you did feel like it was something that was positive and that it was something that had helped you, and it was something that was helpful. And what you want to ask the cards is, what did this help you learn? Okay, this is a very good, this is a very astute question, and this is something that I like to call a question of resolution, and this is probably one of the strongest things I believe that the practice of tarot is capable of doing. Is that in any given situation, is that if you feel like you've gotten out of a bad situation, you're capable of going to the cards in order to make a determination that there was a lesson in all of this. And so we can go ahead and we can use the cards to be able to suss out specifically what that outcome was. And so that's precisely what we're going to be doing for you right now. All right, so I've been shuffling this whole time, so I don't have to keep doing it. Yeah. All right, so we shall go ahead and we shall searching. Okay, I feel like this is our first card. This is our second. And this is our third. All right. Okay, so upon ending a relationship for the betterment of your health, what will this allow us to divine for the future? Let me go ahead and hit the snooze button in this. I'm going to have a 5-minute window in order to complete this, but it should be plenty of time. Okay, so the Page of Swords. Okay, so this is the first time I think we've drawn a swords card tonight. Is that so once again to say that anything that is a page card has to deal with caretaking as being, the third or fourth person in line when it comes to responsibility for a situation. And swords is typically deals with the inner self, the strength of the person, the individual from within. So taking this and seeing this right side up is actually a very positive sign immediately, because we have just the understanding that by leaving this individual and doing it for your own personal betterment was definitely the right move. It was a responsible thing to do. It comes as a result of your intelligent, prudent, and pragmatic nature that you made that decision. So you can be very self-assured at the fact that you had made the right decision by doing this. Is that you know that it came from a place that is very stable and very strong within you. Okay, so we will put that with the Six of Cups, which is in reverse. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, so the Six of Clubs typically is representative of nostalgia, childhood, innocence, and generosity. We've seen this card before. The in the opposite direction, it means that it's about stagnation, emotional baggage, and an ability to move on. So this is to me, this makes logical sense, because there's always going to be a situation after you have cut off a relationship with another individual, whether or not you made the right decision. And so this is representative of the possibility that, you fear that something might become stagnant, something might start standing still, as opposed to when you were in a relationship with this person. The possibility that, there's still just an enormous amount of trauma when it comes to dealing with this individual. But again, this can be expected when you're kind of dealing with anything that might potentially have to do with grief. But since you know that in your interest that you are capable of making such a strong decision based on good criteria, you know that this is really only representative of the feeling of that situation. Because in that situation, you feel as though it was something that might still be with you, still might be something that can potentially linger with you, but it is a pain that you can still reconcile because you know that you made the right decision in the first place. Okay, then finally, we have... I'm going to hit snooze one more time so that we can definitely get through this. The last thing we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at the Two of Swords. Okay, so... and this one is also in reverse. Okay, so... the Two of Swords represents balance, choices, difficult decisions, compromise, and inner conflict, whereas the reverse means indecision, stalemates, avoidance, and refusal to make decisions. So, the best way that I would interpret this is that, given that you feel as though that there might still be the presence of emotional baggage, that there is the possibility that you might come to situations where you feel indecisive. You might approach a stalemate. You might want to do what you can to avoid conflict. And, in a situation, particularly when you actually had to break away from somebody, that means that you have to, this is perfect. Something like this is perfectly normal and it's perfectly understandable. Is probably the best thing, the best way that I can interpret all this is that it's going to just be very necessary in order for you to maintain the belief in your initial decision. There's going to be a lot of circumstances that are going to come up that are going to cause any potential doubt with the decision that you made. And it might lead you to doing some things that are going to, what's the best way to put this? are going to make you kind of put aside making certain kind of decisions, interacting with certain groups of people. But in any way, the probably, the best thing that I could possibly tell you right now is just continue to hold strong the fact that the Page of Swords was your interest in the entirety of this situation. You need to hold strong the belief that you made the correct decision. Is just make sure is that you continue to treat yourself particularly well. Is do exercises, talk with friends, do helpful and necessary things you can do in order to dissuade any potential doubt that you have about making the decision. Because the decision is sound. The only thing that might be a problem is your reaction to the decision over time. Okay, so that is my fortune. Do you have another question? We can draw an additional card, or any other way that you would like to move forward with this, Shark Gamer? That is all. Okay. So, yeah, my advice to you, well, I mean, I think it was what any level headed person would tell you when you're dealing with the loss that comes from having made a decision, an assertive decision to break away from somebody, is that, just continue to hold the truth that you made the correct decision. And that is probably what is going to coast you through a great deal of it, But also, don't feel bad if you ever feel bad, because that's part of the healing process. All right, so I'm sure we have somebody next in line. What I'm gonna do is I've been pushing off the ad manager for a while now. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna run a 2-minute ad, and then we'll be back, and we're going to do. I think we're gonna go on for just one more. We're gonna go on for one more hour, so there's still plenty of time. Anybody who wants to type in !Q to join the free queue, and then we're going to continue to do some tarot right here on Brady the RPG Cat. Thank you everybody for staying tuned. We'll be back after this 2-minute word from Twitch. Stick around, everybody. Hello. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for staying tuned in. This is Brenny the RPG Cat, and we're doing our very first ever tarot reading tonight. It has not been without bugs, but I think we have gotten a really good amount of good responses. You know, thank you. I mean, let me just go ahead and say that this has probably been one of the most active chats that I've had in a stream over a very long time. So yeah, thank you so much to everybody who rated in. Thank you to Weaver and the Phantom, and thank you to Eldritch Grandpa for rating in. You guys are fantastic. I'm glad that I was able to bring this to you, and I'm glad that it's had such a great outcome so far. So, I'm still just trying to fuss with the stream elements queue. At one point I was even just trying to empty everything out by using clear, but I don't know if maybe clear isn't the command. Let me just go ahead and close this one out. I know that there is one more person who was in the queue after me, and if that person is still in chat, please let me know. And then I will go ahead and I will do your reading next. Other than that, I'm just going to close the queue and then reopen it again. This is probably the one thing that I neglected that I probably shouldn't have. I really should have practiced with the chatbot's queue system. Okay, well, I think maybe I succeeded. Yeah, there's already, because I didn't delete anything. That's what the problem is. You mock me with your indifference. There is an active queue. There is not now. Streamlabs can't make up its mind. Say, I do apologize to all of you who are still tuned in. Somebody, anybody out there, somebody give me a clue. Tell me who was the last person to queue after Pickle. Okay, there we go. Put a Z in it. There isn't an active queue. Maybe it's running a couple of steps behind me, that's what the problem is. Well, there's only one thing that any self-conscious cartoon character should do in a situation like this. I'm gonna drop a piano on myself. I deserve that. Okay, there we go. Well, I've got a new queue opened up. You know, if I have to say queue one more time during this stream, I'm gonna... Just recovering, working on trying to get my mojo back. So, thank you everybody who has still stuck around from raids, and everybody who is still currently in the raid list. Is that I still intend to be on tonight for one more hour, so if anybody just wants to speak up in chat, then we will go ahead and we will go on to the next reading. Tarot is greater than brain rot. I mean, you bring up a very good a good point when it comes to that. If that was actually what you were trying to say. Maybe you were using a software parser, and you're saying tarot into the next goes into brain rot. Is that you follow command tarot to get to command brain rot? But yeah, I'm still going to go with tarot is greater than brain rot. Hello, name. Name. That's how I'm reading it. Name. How are you doing tonight? Thank you very much for tuning in. Oh, I get it. It's name. Their name is actually name. Oh, totally overlooked that. Thank you very much for following. So yeah, I just reset the queue if you would like to. Type !Q join. And feel free to be the next person to receive a tarot reading from yours personally. Name. It's got kind of a Three Stooges pronunciation to it. Name. Name. Wait, is it pronounced tarot and not tarot? I mean, you can pronounce it any way that you like to. You say tarot and I say tarot. I say tarot, tarot. Let's call the whole thing off. Something like that. I mean, that kind of sounds like, it sounds like the Vegeta pronunciation. It's like, you will not defeat me, Tarot. Would it mean that it's not brain rot, but brain row? Well, usually when I say brain row, is that my mind immediately goes to the fish eggs that they serve with sushi. Have you got the brain eggs? Well, anyway, Name, if you would like, I would be more than happy to give you a reading right now. Along with anyone else who still might be in chat from those two very appreciated raids. I got the brain eggs and the woke mind virus. Is internet afflictions. So many years in the past, you know, I ended up contracting multiple cases of ligma. Nobody's ever gonna fall for that one again. Say note to self, I'm going to need to move that slightly to the right. Well, all right. So yeah, since we don't seem to have any more takers, I'm probably going to end this stream sometime within the next 5 minutes. Are you still taking readings? Yes. As a matter of fact, you're the very next person in line. All right. So, is there a specific question that you would like to ask the cards, or would you just like a general fortune? Oh, you'd love a fortune for the coming weeks, please. Oh, and also, thank you very much for the 100 bits. Okay. Caddy thank you very much for following. Alright, so yeah. I've probably already been shuffling my cards pretty substantially during that moment of dead air. So, let's go ahead and let's spread them out, and let's find what is going to occur for Nina Amber in the next couple of weeks. Okay, that is our first card. Our second. And here's our third. All right. Okay, so what is going to occur for Nina in the coming weeks is that, since it's been a while since we had mentioned it, is that we are grading. We are putting the 3 cards in this order. Our first card is going to talk about our interest. Our second card is going to talk about intent, and our third one is going to talk about outcome. All right. So here's our first card. We have the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Cups is in reverse. So let's see. So any Queen card really just kind of talks about either the feminine ability or the secondary ability that is within an individual in order to create change. And Cups, as always, usually deals with incidents when it comes to relationships and abilities to engage with between yourself and other individuals. The Queen of Cups typically refers to emotional stability, empathy, intuition, and nurturing, but the reverse is actually shows emotional instability, the possibility to have mood swings, and the possibility to be hypersensitive. So, in your immediate future, there is going to be an instance where you are going to be faced with something, and your normal, straightforward logic is probably going to give way to some form of emotional stalemate, a form of moodiness, a form of instability, the necessity in order to control another individual. So this is probably just something that comes up very immediately that you should look out for in the future. Any situation where you might be making a decision is going to be in some way impaired by your ability in order to not show the proper amount of emotional sensitivity. Okay, then we're going to move on to intent, and intent is one of our major arcana cards. This is probably the second time that we've pulled a major arcana during tonight's stream. So this is the Emperor. So the Emperor is representative of structure and authority, stability, and leadership. So what we're being told so far, Nina Amber, is that we're going to have a situation where you're going to be faced with an emotionally unstable circumstance. But with the Emperor on this side, that means is that the way that you're capable of going to handle it is going to be strong. It's going to be straightforward. It is going to be based entirely on your ability in order to be assertive and in order to be a leader in a situation. So, I would take this so far as that this is probably we're going on a 3-step path. Is that first thing is that you do have to worry about a situation where you actually might feel like less than a decisive person. In that situation, you know that you can fall on the Emperor, is that you can put yourself in a position where you believe that you are capable of overcoming it simply because you have the authoritative nature and the strong ability in order to represent what you intend to do. And then finally we have the Four of Pentacles. Pentacles are often money and fortune signs. Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles, it represents financial stability, security, conservatism, control, or possession. And so, basically, if this is something that it has to do with, a relationship and it is something that creates indecision, that could be financial in nature, but you also have to keep in mind that there's a possibility that this might actually just have to do with your ability to control and manage. Is that what the Pentacles is telling us right here is that any kind of fortune that you're going to be capable of attaining in 2 weeks is actually going to come in the form of stability. It's going to come in the form of your ability in order to hold on to any of the assets and any of the things that you're currently managing. So you can look at this one way and you can say, well, okay, eventually this is all just one big financial possibility, but I don't think it's particularly prudent in order to do that. Is that what you have to do is you have to be aware of, you know, the moment when this is going to strike. When something is going to happen within the next couple of weeks that you believe is going to upend you, is that you believe is going to make you feel a little bit doubtful about your decision-making abilities. But once you know that you have experienced that, you know that you have the Emperor. The Emperor is going to show you that you have the strength and the immediate authority in order to put the kibosh on any kind of potential doubt that you have. And the result is that you're going to be capable of staying the course. Anything that is happening to you that is fortunate at the moment is still going to stay by your side. And that is my fortune. Is that... is there anything else you would like to ask? Is that we also have the option of drawing another card to see if we can add an action to this. Nina Amber. It's cryptic like always, yeah. As something that I said at the very top of the stream is that a lot of people have a tendency in order to think of tarot as just kind of like a straightforward reading of one's fate and destiny. I have a tendency to think more in the terms of, you know, the tarot is something that you use in order to work on your mental agility, your ability in order to look at situations. This was very poignantly put at me in the following terms, is that the tarot does not predict the future. The tarot helps you to discover what you might not be thinking. And so, in some ways you could take all of this and you could look at it as an advisory statement. You know, in situations where you feel like your faith in your beliefs might crumble, you know, you can tell yourself that you know that you're stronger than that, and then you'll be able to meaningfully stay the course and protect the things that are important to you. They tell what they do, yeah. It's not science. Alright, so still have an open queue at this point. Anybody interested, feel free to type !join queue, and I will be and you'll more than likely be the next person to do the reading, to receive a reading. Thank you for the reading. Oh yeah, sure, absolutely, anytime. And thank you very much for leaving a tip. So I'm hanging out for the rest of this hour. Is that at the beginning of the next hour, that is probably when I'm going to be closing up stream. So still plenty of time for anyone to get anything in. And also in the meantime, I'm going to go just slightly back to my vision journal. Because I said I was going to give myself, I was going to do one reading so that I would just be able to put it in my vision journal. And so allow that to be the reading that I am going to take with me into the next few days. Nina Amber says, have a lovely weather, whatever it is on your end of your pond. Yeah. I mean, it's still technically a Friday here. Okay, so you had to put join, ! Q join, but since I see that you're interested in a reading, would you just like me to go ahead and give you a name? Let me know if you have a specific question or if you are interested in just receiving a general fortune. Anything will do. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and let's open the fold. All right. Okay, immediately sense this right here. Then we have a... It was that one right there. And finally, this one. All right. Okay, what is coming out for a name within the next few days? Our first card, the Ten of Pentacles. Pentacles are always about financial issues, fortune, anything in particular that you have the belief that you need to protect. Let's see, in this upright, the Ten of Pentacles means that there is a sense of family, tradition, legacy, mental wealth, and financial security. So basically, what this card points to is that if you imagine you are Scrooge McDuck and you have the money bin, this is the money bin. All of the things that you can most thoroughly rely on when it comes to your financial security, your personal security, your home security, the security in the place where you're currently living. This basically is that we are being representative of your personal interest in your cash. Is that CACHE? I think we've been dealing with QUEUE all evening long. Yeah, so we're talking about, just basically everything that currently makes up your fortune, your securities, anything that helps to bring you to the table meaningfully and financially. And this can also refer to spiritual wealth, is that in any situation where you feel emotionally secure about something. This is also the vault when it comes to that. All right, so then our second one is going to be the Four of Wands, and it is reversed. Okay, so when it is upright, it represents celebration, harmony, homecoming, community, and stability. But the reverse means disharmony, delayed celebration, and instability. And so this is not something that is going to mean, well, okay, suddenly everything that you cherish is going to fall through for you. This basically just means that there was at some point an opportunity in order to feel particularly strong about something. But what they're actually telling you to do is just wait a minute on that, is that when it comes to what you have and what is important when it comes to your security, there was an opportunity to cheer. They're saying, well, you've got to wait a minute. You have to be a little bit more alert when it comes to that. And, well, without asking, anything when it comes to particular specifics about your financing and things like that, it's just kind of really easy to say is that there is something that is very important to you that you are cherishing, and the intent card wants you to pay attention to that. It wants you to take a look at those circumstances so you could be aware of anything that might potentially change or reverse when it comes to those circumstances. And then finally we have the Two of Cups. Cups always have to do with relationships and interconnectedness between people. any 2 card, as if I can recall, is deals with the ability in order to have a partnership, a harmony, a mutual attraction, or a balance. So, having this right side up means that this is still a positive sign. It means that your enduring potential relationship with an individual is eventually going to help you to resolve the ambiguity that is currently happening in your intent right now. So, just the best way to put that is that, okay, you have something that is making you feel really secure. Is that you're being told that you need to pay attention to it and expect a possible delay in the outcome of something. And then also that there is going to be an individual that is going to be there in that situation where you have to deal with the ambiguity. So, I guess maybe the best thing that I would tell you is, keep a look at your pocketbook, keep a look at, the things that, you find to be particularly important. And also look to see if your very close friend or your longtime partner is giving you messages about that. Because you're going to use just the possibility that you can rely on another individual in order to help you determine what this ambiguous message is that you intend to do when it comes to your fortunes. So that is my reading. Is if there is anything else you would like me to do, would you like me to draw another card to see if we can add to this, or have you had any other questions, or you needed me to clarify? Name. Art thou still amongst the living? You're fine with what you have? Alright. I think it, in the end, I feel like that is something that is particularly positive, because it basically says is that as soon as someone very close to you brings something to your attention, then you're going to be able to figure out what that issue is. This is eye-opening. Well, as I always said, is that I would draw things just short of eye-opening. I like to think of the tarot as being actionable. It's telling you throughout every single potential reading, it's telling you to do something. It's telling you to move forward, and it's telling you to act. And, once you potentially see the sign, is that you'll be able to do something about that sign. And particularly when it comes to people like me who can be very indecisive, it is just incredibly helpful to think that, there is just some immediate step that I can take within the next 1 or 2 days in order to apply meaningful change to a circumstance. All right, so we got about 30 minutes left in the stream. Are there any other takers? Anybody else interested in receiving a tarot reading tonight? That we still have a significant amount of people who are still in the chat background from when we were very kindly rated by 2 individuals. And then I know that I saw 1 or 2 people just walk in, so. Feel free to speak now or forever hold your cards. Well, or leave me forever holding my cards. That's basically what's happening. Alright, you never thought a Tootie Cat would give me a tarot card reading. Well, in addition to the tarot readings, we also do a lot of tabletop RPG here, is that I regularly look through and review tabletop RPG guides for and just review their game mechanics. Every once in a while, we do have an opportunity to play a tabletop RPG here. And then on any spare day of the week, you might find me just, playing some Sonic Racing Cross Worlds or something like that. As a matter of fact, on Sunday, on tomorrow evening, beginning at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'm going to be here playing Sonic Robo Blast 2. And so, it's a relatively old and very well-known Sonic fan game. It's going to be my first time playing it, and so I'm very excited for that. So, Sonic on Sundays, that's what we say around here. Sonic Sundays. So we are variety streamer queued around here. Is that, come here if you want to see some dice rolling, some rogueliking, some JRPGing, anything you like. Our only thought is to entertain you. Okay, well, while I'm still waiting, I'm going to see if I can get my own 3-card reading for my vision journal done. Alright. I want one of these. I feel it. Take this card. Sonic is back, and he has crossed worlds. I just very recently played in the festival that gets me all of the free Mega Man stickers and junk. I really do love to paint and design cars in that game. Alright. So, what do I have to watch for in the next few days? Okay, Temperance, reversed. That's a major arcana and it's reversed. I'm a little nervous about that one. Six of Wands, Intent. And finally, Knight of Wands, reversed. Okay, so gosh, maybe I shouldn't have got it. I'll just leave them on the table for now. Okay, so Temperance reverse. This is probably has me the most trepidatious right now. In standard, it is fire, moderation, balance, harmony, and healing. In reverse, it means extremism, is imbalance, disharmony, and excess. So first rule, I need to beware of excess. Upright Six of Wands. Victory, success, recognition, leadership, and inspiration. So, be particularly concerned about excess when it comes to victory, success, and recognition. So yeah, I guess okay. My mind immediately goes to the fact that I said that I had an exceptionally good stream tonight. Is that now I believe that the cards are making me a little bit more humble, as they're telling me to beware of excesses when it comes to success. Maybe they're talking about tonight's stream. And then the outcome would result in the Knight of Wands reversed. Let's see. Say Knight cards, of course, as we all know, are protector cards. The people who are willing to come in and defend, given in situations. The Knight of Wands refers to action, adventure, a passion, impulsiveness, risk-taking. But it's telling me the opposite. It's telling me to have a lack of action, impulsiveness, and recklessness. So the two sides of any Knight card is that it's effectively whether or not the tendency in order to charge into a particular situation might be good for you if it's upright, or if it's bad for you if it's reversed. So what they're basically telling me right here is that I could severely hurt the possibility that my ability to be victorious and successful might potentially be hurt by my ability to be either inactive or to be impulsive. And so yeah, that's got me scratching my head there, because okay, those of you who might be familiar with the Fable of Icarus is the Fable of Icarus, as it's mostly told to people in good old American English class, is that you should never fly too close to the sun, because if you fly too close to the sun, the wax on your wings will melt and you will plummet to the bottom. But then there's another side to Icarus. On the Icarus side, on the opposite side, is that you should never fly too low, because if you fly too low, you get close to the ocean, and then the ocean is going to wet down and bog down your wings and make you incapable of flying. They often don't tell you the second part of that when you are in English literature class, but it's just as important to remember, because you shouldn't set your expectations too high or too low. And that's basically what I believe that my vision book is telling me right now, is that I need to keep things relatively humble and straightforward when it comes to anything that has to do with my success. And right now, probably one of the most successful things I'm doing is this stream. So I'm going to keep things smooth and on the down low so that we can continue to enjoy the successes that I have already been able to put forth. And that's my fortune. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take a break, and then after we take the 2-minute commercial break, is more than likely we're going to go ahead. We're going to close out the stream. And we are going to just talk about what we learned, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a raid. So, thank you everybody for staying tuned in. I know there's a great deal of you who are still here from Eldritch Grandpa's raid. And also, everybody who has come in. As this has been one of the most popular streams that I've done for a very long time, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And also, thank you very much to Nina Amber for giving me that tip of 100 bits. So, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take that commercial break. We're going to wrap it up, and then we are going to raid. Thank you, everybody, for staying tuned in. I'll be back after this 2-minute word from Twitch. This has been Brainy the RPG Cat. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. So, what did we learn tonight? Is that we learned, I believe, above all, that you have to put a lot of trust in the people who are close to you. Is if you have a deep enough understanding with an individual, even the worst kinds of bad luck and misfortune are going to pass you by because of the ease of communication that you have with another individual. We learned today that in any situation where you unfortunately have to break away from somebody, is that the strongest weapon that you have is your inner strength. Whether it was in one situation where an individual had to tell a person to stop giving them annoying phone calls, or another individual who had to make a clean break with somebody that they cared for very much, and to not give in to the possibility that this is going to imperil you, that this is going to lead you to ruination. Instead, have faith that the utmost power and strength of the Emperor and cards are always going to be there for you. As that we know, in the times of immediate financial question marks, whenever you're just looking at your pocketbook and you're going, oh, that there are still people there that are going to be able to be with you, and they're going to be able to support you in those kinds of situations. And it'll be like nothing bad has actually happened at all. You know, it is necessary in order to go to an individual, in order to receive what you perceive to be the fortune that is given to you by a card that is in the Pentacles, is that know that you have the ability to rely on close friends and make sure you're not afraid in order to ask people for help, because oftentimes the friendships that we have are also what is representative of the fortunes that we see in the Pentacle cards. And so we've had a pretty fantastic journey, as I was able to do my work when it comes to using the tarot in order to give me personal assurance and inner strength. And I certainly hope that by showing multiple people the tarot tonight, that I have been able to give them the same kind of peace of mind and judicious thinking that makes these readings work out so well. So thank you everybody once again for tuning in. We're going to go ahead. We're going to do a raid now. I think as I was leaving to start the stream, I left my very, very close friend, Polly B and the 303 online. Is that I believe that, yeah, he was in the middle of playing a game of Sonic Rumble. And so, let's start out. First of all, let's give him a shout out. So, he's a very close friend of mine. He is a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. And he very recently, he also makes Sonic fan tracks for Newgrounds. And he very recently released one that is based around Sonic Rumble, that actually has some of my gameplay footage in it, along with gameplay footage from multiple other fans. So, thank you everybody. Well, once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. This has been a very productive stream for me. Is that I haven't had so many people in my stream having done anything else. So I'm more than happy to say that tarot is going to be coming back as immediately as next week. I just have to figure out which day I'm going to schedule it. But in the meantime, though, thank you everybody for tuning in. Remember, BRAINY means smart. Nothing is too hard if you use your head. Always be the change you want to see in the world. Don't let people change your mind without your permission. And don't reheat food that has already been frozen. Or, no. Don't refreeze food that has already been reheated. That's actually the tip there. All right, folks. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I will be back on Sunday with Sonic Robo Blast 2. Have a good night, everybody, and thank you very much for watching.